Coming up on today's show, should the 49ers sign newly released cornerback Bashaud Breeland, who was just let go by the Minnesota Vikings? Also, the numbers indicate that Jimmy Garoppolo has been the NFL's #1 quarterback the back half of the season. All of that is coming your way. Can't wait to hop into it all. But first, big game coming up on Thursday Night Football between the Titans and the Niners. We'll be doing a watch party for it right here on the channel. But first, get your predictions in down in the comments section. Type TEN for the Titans, SF for the 49ers. Let me know who takes the dub, and let's get today's show started. Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, as always, Chase Sr. Not doing a live show here on Tuesday, instead bringing you this video on demand because that's what we do here on the 49ers Report. And also, San Francisco does play on Thursday Night Football. A little bit of a change here in terms of the schedule this week, but we're going to continue to do what we do, which is producing the best content here on the internet. We start off today's show with a question that I've been asked and a question that is probably being talked about in the 49ers front office. Should we go after Bashaud Breeland, a very good cornerback who, since coming into the league in 2014 after being a fourth-round pick out of Clemson, at times has been a very good player and, at the very least, a serviceable starter who was just let go by the Minnesota Vikings. We'll get into the reasoning behind why he was cut, but we're talking about a player who has a bunch of experience throughout his NFL career, was with the Washington football team from 2014 to 2017, the Kansas City Chiefs in 2019 and 2020, was a starting cornerback for that Chiefs team that beat the Niners back in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Yes, it still hurts me as well. And started all 13 games with the Minnesota Vikings here in 2021. His career stats, he has played a lot, and the highs have been very high, and mostly that's where he's been able to stand throughout his NFL career. But folks, I have to be honest with you. Bashaud Breeland has been absolutely terrible in 2021, which really concerns me if the Niners were to bring him in. We're talking about a player who has 101 starts under his belt during that span, 16 interceptions, 86 pass breakups in 101 starts is a very, very good number, and 10 forced fumbles along with that. So he's also been a big player as well. As for his Pro Football Focus grades, I'm not always one to look into and fully lean on analytics, but the analytics and the numbers do tell the story this year, and this is why, even with a defensive-oriented head coach in Mike Zimmer, the Vikings decided to let him go. The production wasn't up to snuff, and he got into an altercation with some people within this organization, which we'll explain to you here in just a bit. But anytime you have an overall Pro Football Focus grade of less than 50, and it's in the 40s, that is awful. And I have concerns about the player as he ages. He's 29 years old right now, but if you can't play well for a head coach who is considered to be a defensive mastermind, that ain't going to cut it, especially with the Niners offense that needs some solid players in that back end. Now, the back end and the secondary has been much better because this defensive line, led by Nick Bosa's 15 sacks, the emergence of Arden Key, the play of DJ Jones, the consistency of Eric Armstead has been able to cover up for some of the flaws and weaknesses in that secondary. Shout out to that D-line. But I'm just not sure if Bashaud Breeland is going to be able to get it done, especially in short notice. Now, could he be better than a Drake Kirkpatrick or a Josh Norman? Potentially. As for that altercation, let's kind of break it all down and just pass along the information as to what happened and why he was let go after he signed that deal for 1 year and $3+ million in NFL free agency. ESPN on it, NFL Network did first report as to what that altercation was. The situation started in a defensive meeting room Saturday morning as the cornerback and a coach were watching a play from a previous game, the source said. Later at practice, Breeland went onto the field with the defensive starters but was told to come out of the lineup, according to the source. After waiting on the sideline, the cornerback went back to the locker room to change out of his cleats. Once he returned to the practice field, a verbal altercation ensued between the cornerback, several teammates, and coaches, and ended with general manager Rick Spielman stepping in to de-escalate the situation. The source said that Spielman took Breeland to his office to address the situation and eventually waived the cornerback. Now, the positives of Breeland. The 49ers secondary is in a tough spot. We saw Ambry Thomas in a good position to make plays last week. He just didn't make the plays on those 50-50 balls. But Breeland is a solid starter who at this point would be affordable, and he might be a better option than some of the young players on this team. But the 49ers do certainly prioritize culture, and Emmanuel Moseley is expected to be out for the regular season. So you still are shorthanded in that secondary as well. The question you kind of want to ask yourself, and the question that the Niners as an organization are probably posing to themselves is this: is he better than some of the current cornerbacks? And is it worth it to sign him and take away the playing time from a Deommodore Lenoir or an Ambry Thomas? The Niners are in a tricky spot right now. They're 8-6. Sixth place in the NFC. They're playing excellent football. They've won 5 of 6 games. A lot of people, including yours truly, believe that they are dark horses at making a deep run into the playoffs. Wouldn't surprise me one iota if they knock off one of the top dogs in the NFC. So they have to figure out, okay, can he help us right away? And can that secondary really take a leap forward with Breeland if we do bring him in? The 49ers, as I mentioned, prioritize culture. So if Breeland is a guy who is going to affect that in a negative fashion, it probably wouldn't be worth dealing with some of the baggage. These are all of the questions that go on in a front office. These are the questions and the conversations that teams do have when they have to face a decision like this. So I kind of explained everything that's going on. I'd probably not take a chance on Breeland, but I want you to let me know how you're feeling about this. Do you want the Niners to sign him? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Be sure to get those votes in the comment section down below. Now, as I mentioned, the Niners going on the road, short week, taking on a physical Tennessee Titans team. Even without Derrick Henry, yeah, they can get after in terms of just being a physical squad, just like San Francisco. But because San Francisco is also a physical team, I do like how San Francisco matches up with Tennessee. They're a down team, and Ryan Tannehill ain't the same quarterback without the king, Derrick Henry. As for the betting As for the betting odds, I'm not like producer Marshall Green drinking RBVs. I just kind of choked there. It happens during the course of a show. Yeah, he is drinking RBVs at work. We're built different. Over under 44.5. 49ers 3.5-point favorites. If you want to lay some money down on this game, you can do so right now thanks to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head to chatsports.com/49bet. Enter the promo code Niners125. If you put in $100 into your account, you get an additional $125 back. That's $225 to game with. And if you do that and put $100 into your account, we'll send you a free 49ers jersey. I'll lay out all these steps right now. Chatsports.com/49bet. Enter the promo code Niners125. Sign up, deposit $100. You get that $125 back. Make a bet, and then we will send you a free 49ers jersey. Just email us, jersey@chatsports.com, letting us know that you indeed followed all of those steps. Next up on the show, a talking point that I'm really excited to get to, Jimmy Garoppolo. Is he the NFL's best quarterback? Of course, he's not up there with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, but the numbers back it up that Garoppolo, the back half of the season, has been straight up balling out. And he got off to a very slow start in this 2021 campaign. You compare the numbers from weeks 1 to 7 as compared to weeks 8 to 15. Weeks 1 through 7. Completing less than 65% of his passes. He threw for 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns, 4 picks, average yards per attempt at 7.6. The back half of the year, weeks 8 through 15, completion percentage has gone up about 5 points to 69. Very nice. He's thrown for more than 2,000 yards, 12 touchdowns to 4 picks, but really the big indicator of a quarterback improving and playing well, his yards per attempt. All the way up to 9. That is the league's best number. So Jimmy Garoppolo right now has been playing like the most efficient quarterback in the National Football League. And it really is time to give Jimmy Garoppolo his flowers. Look, he doesn't have a bazooka for an arm. He's not a stupid athlete. You can't compare what he does with the football to a Justin Herbert, an Aaron Rodgers, or a Josh Allen. And you can't compare him athletically to a Lamar Jackson or some of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the league. But what Jimmy Garoppolo does for this 49ers team, he wins games, 70% of them as a starter, and he is very, very clutch in 2-minute drills before half and at the end of games. And he's been doing this all year and throughout the majority of his 49ers tenure. So while I have criticized him at times, and others have the right to criticize him at times, because when he's not good, he is bad, Garoppolo, for the most part, has been a very efficient and effective quarterback, especially when he's healthy. He ain't flashy, folks, but he certainly is an efficient cat. And we were having this conversation inside the Chat Sports studios. Who would you rather have, considering the player, considering how they do in some big games, and how they perform in crunch time? Kirk Cousins at the salary that he is on, or Jimmy Garoppolo? Honestly, I might go with Jimmy Garoppolo because I don't put a lot of faith in Kirk Cousins to come through when I need him to come through. Marsh, if we could show that tweet real quick about the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL, if we still have it, I'd like to pop that up before we get out of here. This coming from Jeff Deeney. It goes to show you how well Garoppolo has been playing. Weeks 1 through 7, he was tied for 28th in PFF grade splits. Weeks 8 through 15, 86.5, number 1 in the NFL. So as we move forward, we're going to continue to have this conversation. We're going to continue to embrace debate because here on the channel, we're all for open-minded conversations. Who do you want as the starting quarterback in 2022? Type JG for Jimmy Garoppolo, TL for Trey Lance. Once again, sound off in the comments section, and thanks for watching today's show.